is up, everybody? This is your boy, Teran Rodriguez, bringing you another edition of Set Point. And as always, we have ourselves a jam-packed show as we have a lot of volleyball to discuss as the first week of NCAA Men's Volleyball 2026 is in the books. And Hawaii, well, they look like Hawaii. They are a wagon. Nothing is slowing them down. Are they the favorite to win it all? Can they win it all? Will Long Beach State have anything to say about that? Also, Ball State wound up kicking off their season with a win over Shrine. I'm certain we still need to see more from the Cardinals. Also, we've got a lot of pro volleyball leagues kicking off the season, such as the MLB, formerly known as Pro Volleyball Federation, LOVB, and we also have the VLA in men's volleyball. Don't forget about the VLA in men's volleyball. And the MPSF dropped its biggest news of the year so far in terms of beach volleyball. What is that news? I'm about to break it to you all if it hasn't been broken already. So hand me a volleyball. Set next. We're talking about the circuit volleyball action here on Set Point. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of Set Point here on iSports Radio. Your feed for all that is sports. And welcome all to another edition of Set Point. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Monday afternoon, Monday evening, Monday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made a way into episode 332 of Set Point. And without any further delay, let us begin. But first and foremost, Set Point would not be where it's at without iSports Radio providing the platform to go live on X and on YouTube. Please do follow iSports Radio on several different social media platforms such as X, TikTok, and Instagram. Yes, the Instagram is back up and running. Also, make sure to subscribe to iSports Radio on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate it. Again, we're trying to reach 500 subscribers. We really want to reach that goal at the very least. So with your help, we could definitely make it happen. Also, be on the lookout for the website, iSportsRadio.com, which will have our news, which will probably have a newsletter. It'll have a blog. It'll have our shows dedicated to each podcast, such as Set Point, dedicated to volleyball, as well as other podcasts dedicated to other sports. And you'll get to know about me and all the other members of the iSports Radio family. For the last 11 years, iSports Radio has bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. A huge shout to our two sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, and Vital Apparel. So without any further delay, let's get on into what our sponsors are all about. I will see you in a little bit.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out, the sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out all of our amazing sponsors, and we appreciate them for being the official sponsors of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. And if you want to follow Setpoint on social media, it's on X, formerly known as Twitter, at set_point.ie. You can also, it's also on TikTok as well, at set_point.ie. Promise to get all my content uploaded on TikTok as well from yesterday. And then also, you can follow me personally on X as well, at Teran Rodriguez 1. And you can also follow Setpoint on Instagram, at set_point.iesr. That's where I'm pretty much starting to thrive for the most part in terms of all my content. So definitely keep an eye on that. So without any further delay, let's get on into the volleyball action as Larry B pops in the chat room. He says, "Let's go, T-Rod." Thanks, Larry B. I appreciate you. So let's start off with some NCAA men's volleyball. So the NCAA men's volleyball week 1 is officially in the books. I know it isn't as big as it was in terms of like there were only 3 matches. And no, we're not counting all the scrimmages against the Canadian teams. No, we're not going to count that. So only 3 matches from this past week. And 2 of them were pretty much the same 2 teams in terms of facing one another. So the first matchup was on Friday, the day after New Year's, as we got to see NJIT receiving votes take on number 2 Hawaii at Stan Sheriff Center. And long story short, when it came to this matchup, I don't want to say this to be mean, but it was just all Hawaii. Hawaii straight up took NJIT to the shed, and it was just a beat down. And look, this is no disrespect to NJIT, but honestly, I kind of had a feeling this was going to be the case. Like, this was going to be like the most obvious result that we were going to see, just because this is the number 2 team in the nation. And NJIT, like I said on last week's show, they're a younger team than previous years. Their squad is comprised of mostly freshmen and sophomores. And they just were no match for a veteran-laden, okay, maybe not veteran-laden, but more experienced Hawaii team at home. So first set, Hawaii wound up winning it 25-11. Long story short, Hawaii just got up to a 5-0 lead, and they didn't look back. So all in all, it was a really tough first set for NJIT. Second set, I mean, NJIT kind of got it going, but it was just all Hawaii. Like, this match was so one-sided that Hawaii never trailed one time in this match. That just goes to show the difference between the number 2 team in the nation and a team that's receiving votes. And again, it's no disrespect to NJIT, as Hawaii was led by Kristen Tatrisky, who had 12 kills. I mean, this kid was, I mean, if you remember last year, he had an ankle injury against CSUN on the road, and that prevented him from partaking in the Big West Conference Championships and the NCAA tournament. And I'm certain Hawaii really missed him. Then he had Adrian Rohr with 8 kills, Tread Rosenthal with 26 assists and 8 blocks. As a team, Hawaii hit 517, and they had 13.5 blocks as a whole. So, yeah, this was pretty much all Hawaii. And then for NJIT, look, NJIT, they were held to only a hitting percentage of .045. They had 0 service aces, 0 blocks. Their kill leader was Andre Aleshu, who had 10 kills. He also had 10 digs as well. So that was kind of a bright spot. And he had the best hitting percentage of, probably the most efficient hitting percentage of all the players on NJIT. He hit 273. I mean, there was also Andrew Fedmasu, who hit 400, and he had 3 kills. But it was just this was just one of those matches. This was a clunker matchup, and we all knew that this was going to be the result. And look, Hawaii is a good team, and surprisingly, there wasn't as much of attendance when it came to this matchup as opposed to like most Hawaii matches. Like, normally Hawaii matches have like at least 6,000, maybe 7,000, maybe sometimes 8,000, depending on the opponent. But yeah, this was a little surprising, to say the least, to see that there wasn't as many fans. There were still quite a bit of fans. I mean, it wasn't like it was like it was boring or anything, or it was like empty or something of that sort. It was just not as filled as I thought. I thought it was going to be a little over 8,000. So in attendance for the night, it was 5,685. So I think the turnstile was like 6,721. So a little lower of a number than most Hawaii matches, but it's still a long season. Plus, it was the day after New Year's, so we could forgive this for a little bit. So that was the first match of the NCAA men's volleyball season. And I'm just going to also say this. Well, actually, I'll save my bit for later. But the next matchup was the day after. So it was Trine of NCAA Division III taking on Ball State at Muncie, or in Muncie. And long story short, Ball State swept Trine. Though Trine, unlike NJIT, actually cracked 20 points. And yeah, but still, Ball State was able to get its first win of the season and its first win under its new head coach, as the Cardinals were led by Ryan Lewis, who had 12 kills. Will Basilio added 8 kills. Will Patterson added 7 kills. As a team, Ball State hit 507. They had a whopping 6.5 blocks, and they actually had 25 digs, which isn't too bad of a number if you ask me. But overall, Ball State handled business. Trine, on the other hand, they hit 103. They had 0 blocks. They had 3 service aces, but it wasn't anything too special, as John Mikrut led the way for Trine with 12 kills. And then he actually had over half the kills that Trine had as a whole, as Trine also got 5 kills from Kuhau Johnson Hokano Pelekai. Yeah, that's actually his name. Kuhau Johnson Hokano Pelekai. God, try saying that 5 times fast, but I digress. So, yeah, all in all, this was kind of a target practice game for Ball State. And that's no disrespect to Trine, but it's like Ball State kind of has no business taking on a Division III school. So there was that little matchup right there. I mean, most people almost probably forgot about it. I mean, I almost forgot about it until I was informed of this, thanks to someone by the name of Izzy, which I'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, that was Ball State Trine in a nutshell. And then we had round 2 between NJIT and Hawaii. So unlike the previous matchup, NJIT did lead at one point of this match. It was in set 2, but that was as that was pretty much it. They never led after that, and Hawaii swept NJIT 25-17, 25-16, and 25-17. The Bows were led by Kristen Tatrisky yet again. He had 11 kills. Adrian Rohr added 9 kills. Louis Sakanoko added 6 kills. Tread Rosenthal had 30 assists to go along with 3 blocks and 5 digs. Hawaii had 5 service aces, and they hit .517 as a team while holding NJIT to only a hitting percentage of 141. But NJIT did actually have a service ace. They had an ace from Andrew Fedmasu and Andre Aleshu. Speaking of Aleshu, he actually led NJIT again in kills with 9. Unfortunately, he didn't have 10 digs, as digs were tough to come by when it came to NJIT. They had only 11 digs. I mean, digs are already tough to come by in NCAA men's volleyball as a whole. But something I will make note of is that Quentin Greenidge had 8 digs for Hawaii while I'm on the topic of digs. So that's good to see. 8 digs from a libero. I mean, again, like I said, digs are a little tough to come by in men's volleyball just because the rallies are shorter. But when they're on, they're on. Anyway, the next kill leader was Victor Nowak, who had 6 kills, and then Daniel Latkowski and Andrew Fedmasu both had 5 kills. Unfortunately, it was still not enough, as the Bows wound up sweeping the Highlanders to start off 2-0. So I forgot to mention, in the Rainbow Warriors' season opener, they've won 13 straight season openers dating back to 2014. So their last season opening loss was in 2013 when BYU beat them. So it's a little Snapple fun fact of the day right there. And also, this fun fact was actually courtesy of Tiff Wells, the radio broadcaster of Hawaii men's volleyball or Hawaii volleyball as a whole. Hawaii is actually 21-0 against EIVA teams not named Penn State. So any other team from the EIVA not named Penn State, they have not lost to. They almost lost to Harvard last year, but that was almost. There's no such thing as almost doesn't count as actually happening. Like, had Harvard had done that, that would have been surprising. I didn't even know that fun fact. So Tiff Wells, hat tip to you on that little Snapple fun fact right there. But that is pretty much that for week 1 of the NCAA men's volleyball season. Now, something I did get to attend yesterday was the North American Challenge. I'm not really the biggest fan of going to preseason events. Yeah, the North American Challenge is like a preseason event. It's basically the final tune-up for Long Beach State and any other teams that partake in it. And it also is a nice way for the Canadian teams to come out to North America and play some of the top NCAA men's volleyball teams. And I think it's pretty cool. I actually got to attend this, and they've got the 2 teams that partook were Calgary and oh God, I'm blanking on the previous name. It's Alberta. That's their name, Alberta. So Alberta and Calgary were the teams that came and visit. So the Calgary Dinos and the Alberta Golden Bears. So overall, it was a fun day 2 event. Unfortunately, day 2 was played in the gold mine, because I really hate to have to bring this up, and it really frustrates me having to bring this up. The roof at Long Beach State unfortunately had a leak in it. So there was the rain in Southern California, quite a bit of rain, and on Saturday and on Sunday, well, not so much on Saturday, not so much on Sunday, but on Saturday, there was a lot of rain, and because there was a leak in the roof at the Walter Pyramid, I'm still going to call it Walter Pyramid. I don't care what it's called. I don't care if it's called what is it? The Financial something arena. I'm just going to call it the Walter Pyramid. I don't care. Anyway, so yeah, since there was a leak in the roof of the pyramid, day 2 of the North American Challenge had to be played in the gold mine, which, I mean, it's not ideal, especially for like these big time men's volleyball players, especially who can crush the ball so hard. So overall, it would have been great to have the North American Challenge being played in the pyramid, but it is what it is, and they didn't want to just cancel it. So I mean, also men's basketball had to, if there's any consolation, men's basketball had to play in the gold mine as well. They had to play their match, but we're not talking basketball here. So, yeah, I enjoyed covering the North American Challenge. I got to see UC San Diego in action. They look pretty good. I got to see their A team, and I didn't get to see their B team, which was the early cap games. So, and overall, the USA teams, UC San Diego and Long Beach State, they both went a combined 8-0 against Calgary and Alberta. So here's the format. So day one, both teams played Alberta's A team and B team on that day, and both UC San Diego and Long Beach State played their B teams against Calgary and Alberta's B team. And then the A teams played following that. And then same was said for day two. So just so it was kind of fair. So honestly, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of scrimmages or matches that don't count, but I think it's a really cool event. I think it's great to see Canadian fans come out to cheer their team. And it's always great to see what Long Beach State and UC San Diego have in store, especially since I'll be seeing them more often than not. And Brad Rostrader is a former guest of Set Point. So overall, I enjoyed seeing UC San Diego. And my takeaway for UC San Diego when I saw them yesterday was this. They're going to be a very surprising team. I'm going to fully admit this. I thought UC San Diego was going to finish 6th in the Big West Conference. I think I understand why the voters of the Big West had a tough time picking who is going to finish 4th between CSUN, UC Santa Barbara, and UC San Diego. I think UC San Diego is going to be a surprise team for everybody. I think they're going to surprise a few teams. And TJ Breschers even said it best on my Instagram post. He said, if you give UC San Diego an inch, they'll take the whole court. And I say amen to that. They have a really good team. I think their team is definitely just as strong as it was last year. I think they could definitely pull off some big wins. They actually kick off their season tomorrow against Jessup. So Jessup tonight is slated to face UC Irvine in a closed scrimmage. So had that scrimmage been an open scrimmage, I would have been there. But since it's a closed scrimmage, unfortunately, I will not be. I obviously am not attending, so I'm here doing the show. So, yeah, I think UC San Diego is going to be a great team to watch for, and they're going to be so sneaky good. So, if anyone thinks that they're going to be a gimme matchup like I initially thought, I think you're dead wrong. So, I think they're going to be a fringe good team, and they're going to probably stun at least one top 5 team, maybe 2, and they'll probably pull off some top 10 wins if they get the chance to do so as well. Now, my takeaway for Long Beach State is this. They look as dominant, they look really good as advertised. Now, the second set against Alberta, I kind of thought they were a little lackadaisical. So I actually got the format wrong. So Long Beach State played Alberta's B team. Alberta's B team and Long Beach State's B team played on day 1, and then Long Beach State's A team played Calgary in day 1, and same with UC San Diego. They played Calgary's B team on day 1, then Alberta's A team in day 1, and then they played Alberta's B team in day 2, and they played their B team in day 2, and then they played Calgary's A team and their A team in day 2. So I know that's a lot, but honestly, it's a preseason volleyball. It's preseason volleyball. It's nothing to hit the panic button about. I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. But going back to what I said about Long Beach State, my takeaway for Long Beach State is this. They still look as dominant and strong as ever. And honestly, I think Long Beach State is going to be really good. I know that's a little bit vague to say, but this team definitely has that it factor. Everyone thinks that Moni Nikolov leaving is going to leave the door open for the likes of UCLA and Hawaii. I think Jake Pizzanti can still set this offense. And yeah, he's also been battle tested. And he's also the fact that he, as a redshirt freshman who didn't get any playing time at all last year, wound up winning the starting position over the likes of Island Doty and Ryan Peluso, it speaks to a testament of Jake Pizzanti. And Jake Pizzanti has a lot of good weapons on his team. He's got Skylar Varga, who was named the MVP of the North American Challenge. He's also got Daniil Hirshdanovich. He's also got Alex Kondev. He returns from last year's team after a stellar freshman year. He's got amazing middle blockers in Jackson Christ, who's only a freshman. And he's also got Ben Braun, who returns as well. Someone that did not see the court was Isaiah Pruitt. So Isaiah Pruitt is one of the players from last year's team on last year's Long Beach State National Championship team who really stepped up. So I don't know why he didn't play. Maybe he's injured, but I imagine he's going to get back into the fold. So that was a name that we all didn't get a chance to see. But overall, also Long Beach State has one other guy. I think his name is like Wojciech, I forget his last name, but he's pretty darn good if you ask me. He was also pretty darn good, and I think this guy is going to be something special. And I think he's only a freshman, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I think they've got a lot of depth on their team. It's not just one player. It's just a lot of good depth on their team. Like if one player goes down with injury, they definitely have someone that could take this next spot. Like his name is Wojciech Gahek. If I mispronounced that, I apologize. But yeah, Wojciech Gahek. That's his name. He's only a freshman. He's a freshman opposite. He hails from Poland. So what's with all the international players from Long Beach State? Woof. They got Hirshdanovich, Gahek. They obviously have Isaiah. Oh no, Isaiah Pruitt's not international. But they also got Alex Kondev from Bulgaria. They got Skylar Varga from Canada. This team is pretty darn special, if you ask me. Like this is this is barely scratching the surface. They've got other players that they've got hiding in the fold. They've got Braden Marquardt, who, man, that middle blocker room is so filled. You've got Isaiah Pruitt, Ben Braun, Jackson Christ, Braden Marquardt, and Marquardt. If I recall correctly, I want to say he's a transfer from GCU, if I'm not mistaken, because that name sounds eerily. Yeah, his previous school was from Grand Canyon, which you know what you did, GCU. Anyway, so yeah, this team has a lot of depth on it, and also they returned their libero, Kellen Larson. But like I said, he's the only libero on the team, which kind of is in the same case of UC Irvine having just one libero. So I can't imagine what'll happen. Heaven forbid he somehow gets hurt, but we're not going to think that way. Kellen Larson is durable, and he definitely has what it takes to be the starting libero. Like, who would be their next libero? Would it be Peluso? Would it be Dane Hillis? I really don't want to think about what would happen, who's their backup libero, but I digress. So anyway, we're not going to think about that. So Long Beach State kicks off their season this Friday when they host Lindenwood, while UC San Diego kicks off their season tomorrow at home against Jessup. And that'll do it for week 1 of the NCAA men's volleyball season. Now let's jump on into week 2. So no AVCA poll for this week. So I understand why, just because only 3 teams played in 3 teams played in NCAA Division 1-2. All right. So before I go on to NCAA men's volleyball week 2, I just gotta say this. I think the AVCA or the NCAA needs to have a big time event when it comes to NCAA men's volleyball to kick off the season. I mean, honestly, look, I'm not one to complain about NJIT and Hawaii being the first match of the season. I think it's a decent matchup. Now, last year, the first matchup to start the 2025 NCAA men's volleyball season was Brandon of Manitoba taking on Concordia Irvine. I think we all could have done a better job of picking the first match of the season. But yeah, there needs to be AVCA needs to come up with a first serve showcase for men's volleyball like they do for women's volleyball. I get it. NCAA men's volleyball isn't as big as NCAA women's volleyball. It gets the shaft. There's not a lot of teams happening, but it just would be a better, something better than just a one-sided affair. And again, this isn't on NJIT for, being the underdog. I just think that we need to have a better event to kick off the NCAA men's volleyball season. Fill the seats, get the fans excited, make the world know, not just on social media, but make the world as a whole know that men's volleyball exists. And I get it, NCAA is dropping the ball yet again when it comes to men's volleyball, but I'm just going to say this, and Vinny Lopes said this on Off the Block via Instagram, shouting and leaving comments about the NCAA forgetting about men's volleyball isn't going to make men's volleyball happen, or it's not going to happen, or it's not going to do anything. We just got to keep growing the game on our own base. And Vinny Lopes also made a note of this. We also got to support beat writers that write about men's volleyball or NCAA men's volleyball, like him and like me, because I'm also going to be writing for Middle Hitter for Kevin Pratt, who was a former Set Point guest, which we talked about what Middle Hitter's all about, but I digress. But yeah, support the NCAA men's volleyball writers like me in the near future, Vinny Lopes, Kevin Pratt, Lee Feinswong with 900 Square Feet, Kristen Shimibuku, who covers Hawaii men's volleyball. The list goes on. And then the 562 for covering Long Beach State. So, yeah, support NCAA men's volleyball beat writers. And just do your part to try to grow the game of NCAA men's volleyball. Buy a ticket. Go to a game. And just talk about the experience and share the experience with friends and family. And if you're like a women's volleyball fan, why not take a crack and see and support NCAA men's volleyball? And I don't understand why it's so difficult. And if you can't make it to the game for some weird reason, give your ticket to someone else. Tell them, hey, I bought this ticket for an NCAA men's volleyball match. Would you like to go? I unfortunately can't go because I have a family commitment or something of that sort. We just got to keep growing the game of NCAA men's volleyball how we want to grow it. Whether it's on social media, whether it's content creating, whether it's having a vodcast or a podcast, whether it's doing anything to grow the game, we just got to do our part, just because, unfortunately, the NCAA isn't going to do it. And I'm looking at you, AVCA. We need to have a 6 rotations-esque type of show for NCAA men's volleyball. I'm not going to stop asking until we get it. We are not going to get Grand Theft Auto before we get an NCAA men's volleyball show from the AVCA. I guarantee it. So make it happen, AVCA. Please. Anyway, now for week 2. So week 2 of the NCAA men's volleyball season. So do not go to the NCAA website. So for the time being, as of this recording, as I go onto the NCAA men's volleyball website, the NCAA men's volleyball website, I just got to say, I am very disappointed in the NCAA. I get it. Yelling at this isn't going to do anything, but the fact that they still haven't updated its schedule is still disappointing. They're still in May of 2025 when we're already in October of 2026. And it sucks because, well, NCAA men's volleyball deserves better. And I'm clicking on the calendar and I'm on January 2026. There is no dates. And it's sad because, again, the neglect of NCAA men's volleyball sucks. But there was one person who had a master schedule when it comes to NCAA men's volleyball. Well, there are actually 3. Off the Block, courtesy of Vinny Lopes. There's also TJ Breschers, aka Vibello. If I mispronounced that or misinformed that, I apologize. And then there's the Volleyball Recap, aka Izzy. So I don't know his last name. We're just gonna call him Izzy. So Izzy came up with a Google Doc of the master schedule. So it only has January and February, but hey, it's more than what the NCAA is doing when it comes to men's volleyball. Like, Izzy here has the entire January slate on a Google Doc, which I think is incredible. That takes a lot of time, and the fact that he did that is unbelievable. So you have my respect, Izzy, as well as Vinny Lopes of Off the Block and TJ Breschers of Vibello Report. Anyway, so the master schedule is this week actually kicked off with way early in the morning. We had University of Puerto Rico Piedras taking on UMES, or University of Maryland East Shore. And UMES actually wound up beating University of Puerto Rico Piedras in 5. So that was way earlier in the day. So, yeah. It was a great win, and congratulations to Dr. Anitra Brockman for winning that matchup. So great job on her behalf. And also, like I mentioned, UC Irvine and William Jessup are facing one another in a closed scrimmage. So there's that. Then Tuesday, we have Princeton versus McMaster on the road. Then you have Lancaster Bible of Division III taking on Barry of Florida. And then in terms of week 2, you've got William Jessup playing at UC San Diego. Then Wednesday, you have Roberts Wiseland taking on DUville. Then also the UC. Not Wednesday. Thursday, you have DUville hosting Roberts Wiseland. Then the UC Santa Barbara A6 Invitational kicks off, where UC Santa Barbara plays Kentucky State. Then UC Irvine plays Harvard, and then CSUN plays Maryville. And then also you have UMES playing Universidad Politécnica de Puerto Rico. God, that's a mouthful. And then you have Central State playing at Ohio State, Rockhurst at Vanguard, and then Loyola Chicago at Hawaii. Match of the week right there, everybody. Loyola Chicago at Hawaii is going to be a barn burner, my dudes. That's going to be a very fun matchup. And the last time these two teams played, Loyola wound up beating Hawaii in 5. And it actually was Hawaii's first loss in January since I don't even remember before that. That was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. And that was crazy if you ask me. So there's January 8th, Thursday's matches. Then Friday, you've got Merrimack at Dominican of New York, King of Tennessee playing at Lincoln Memorial, number 20 Lincoln Memorial. Then you got Mount Olive at Penn State, which is a sneaky good matchup. Then you got Rockhurst at Concordia Irvine, Missouri S&T at Ball State, NJIT at Ohio State, St. Thomas Aquinas at Pepperdine, SFU at BYU, or St. Francis University at BYU, Lewis at Menlo, McKendree at UCLA, which is another good matchup. That's going to be a nice little litmus test for McKendree. And then Lindenwood at Long Beach State, which I'll be at. And then Damon at UC San Diego, which I think could be a sneaky good matchup if you ask me. And then Loyola Chicago, Hawaii, round 2. And then for the UC Santa Barbara A6 Invitational, you have CSUN playing Harvard in the first match. And then Maryville at UC Santa Barbara in the second match. And then Kentucky State taking on UC Irvine to close off day 2 of the UCSB A6 Invitational. And then for Saturday's matchups, you got North Greenville at Lincoln Memorial, which I think can kind of be a sneaky good matchup. North Greenville isn't really the flashiest team coming out of the Conference Carolinas, but they're a solid team. They're not the best team, but not bad by any means. Then you got DUville at Roberts Wiseland, Manhattan at Penn State, Missouri S&T at PFW or Purdue Fort Wayne, Catawba at George Mason, Dominican at Merrimack, NJIT at Ball State, which can kind of be a good matchup. I mean, NJIT has a little bit of experience under their belt. Now that they've got their feet wet, I think they should be able to have a little bit of a better showing against Ball State, but we'll see. Then you got Tusculum at Queens, St. Thomas Aquinas at USC, UC Santa Cruz at Menlo, Lewis at Stanford, St. Francis at BYU, Lindenwood at Vanguard, and McKendree at LB at Long Beach State, which I'll be at. And then for the final day of the UC Santa Barbara A6 Invitational, you've got UC Irvine, Maryville, Kentucky State, CSUN, and then Harvard, UC Santa Barbara, which I think can kind of be a good matchup. I mean, Harvard, everyone kind of, when you first think of the EIVA, you really don't think of Harvard all that much, but Harvard does have some studs that they return. So we'll see if Santa Barbara is up for the challenge. I imagine we're going to be seeing the Big West Conference teams run train on all the other teams. And that's no disrespect to Maryville, Kentucky State, and Harvard. I think Harvard can probably be the most competitive of the three, but we'll see. And then Sunday, we have Lees McRae at Charleston, Fort Valley State at Queens, which I think can kind of be a good matchup. NJIT at Purdue Fort Wayne, Damon at Pepperdine, Concordia Irvine at UCLA, which actually kicks off conference play, believe it or not. And then Rockhurst at UC San Diego. So UC San Diego's already got a busy week. And then Long Beach State has kind of the MIVA two-step, as well as UCLA. Actually, no, not UCLA. UCLA only has McKendree, and then they host Concordia Irvine in the MPSF opener. So there you have it. That is pretty much that for week 1 of the NCAA men's volleyball season, and week 2 of the NCAA men's volleyball season. But it's kind of your preference. I mean, some call it week 1, but that kind of makes me wonder, what do we call this past week? What do we call the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday matches that we just saw? Is that week 0? I call it week 1 just because I don't care what anyone says. That is week 1, and that was the first start of the NCAA men's volleyball season, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Anyway, so I think this is week 2 of the NCAA men's volleyball season, and there's not a whole lot of ranked-on-ranked matchups. I mean, obviously you've got McKendree playing UCLA and Long Beach State. You've got Loyola taking on Hawaii, which I think is going to be a fun one. Other than that, I don't really see too much on this docket regarding ranked versus ranked, but we'll see if we get some other good matchups. I mean, I think, again, Harvard playing the Big West schools like CSUN, UCI, and UCSB should be a sneaky good matchup, so we shall see. But that is pretty much that for week 2 of the NCAA men's volleyball season. Once again, thank you to Izzy, a.k.a. the Volleyball Recap, for having this Google Doc of January's matches. This man is the real MVP. Give him a follow on Instagram at the Volleyball Recap. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. But that'll do it for the NCAA men's volleyball portion of the show. We're going to take ourselves a quick little commercial break. When we come back, we've got some previews for the pro volleyball leagues, such as the MLV, formerly known as the PVF, the LOVB, aka League One Volleyball, and then you've also got the VLA, which is men's volleyball, and then a little bit of NCAA beach volleyball news regarding the MPSF. So keep it locked here. You were listening to Set Point here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Notorious Law.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernan.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your 5-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr., and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back with the second half of Set Point here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out all of our amazing shows dedicated to different sports all across the world. That being said, let's get on into the pro volleyball side of things. So this week, the MLV, formerly known as the PVF, kicks off its first week of the season. So unfortunately, as of this recording, there is no preseason poll, which I bet you anything there's going to be a preseason poll the day after this show goes live, which will probably irk me to a T. But the first day of the PVF, or formerly known as PVF, the MLV season, will be Thursday, and there'll be a doubleheader on YouTube. So the MLV's first match will actually be the Columbus Fury playing at the Atlanta Vibe. So look, I know the Atlanta Vibe got a lot really good over the off season. The Columbus Fury should also be pretty darn good as well. I don't know what to expect from this first matchup. I mean, the Columbus Fury is probably going to be the most finicky team out there. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. The Fury did not do good last year. I mean, it was a tough year to be a Columbus Fury fan. It's like being a Cleveland Browns fan, but I digress. So the Atlanta Vibe, I kind of imagine they should win this matchup. I would be a little surprised if the Fury wound up pulling off the first win of the season, but you never know. It's going to be played at Gas South Arena in Atlanta. So obviously that's a big plus for the Atlanta Vibe, but honestly, I think we could be in for a good matchup. And then also on Thursday, we have the San Diego Mojo heading out to the Midwest to take on the Omaha Supernovas at the CHI Health Center. All right, so this is a rematch of the semifinals from 2 seasons ago of the inaugural PVF season. So San Diego Mojo, Omaha Supernovas. This one's going to be an interesting matchup. I feel the Mojo got better, but let's be honest, this is the Supernovas we're talking about. I'm 95% certain they got better as well. And you already know that CHI Health Center is going to be packed, or the Chi is going to be packed. So it's like, I want to say San Diego has a shot at beating the Supernovas, but I imagine Omaha is going to be super good from the get-go. Because last year, Omaha probably should have won the formerly known as PVF championship, but obviously they just ran into, I wouldn't say a buzzsaw, but they ran into a brick wall when it came to the Indy Ignite. So, yeah, the Omaha Supernovas, I imagine Omaha will beat the Mojo, but you never know. Like, San Diego was not good last year. I'm certain they got at least somewhat better, but playing in that hostile environment is going to be so tough for the Mojo, which is why I got to go with the Supernovas. Then we jump to Friday. So last year's MLV or PVF champion, the Orlando Valkyries, kick off their season against the Grand Rapids Rise. So this one will be played on the Roku channel. this is kind of an interesting matchup. So the Grand Rapids Rise they were kind of in the middle of the pack last year. They weren't bad, but they weren't good either. But here's the thing for the Valkyries. I'm certain they reloaded from last year's team. I know they lost some key pieces to either retirement or different transactions to either different leagues or so on and so forth. But I imagine the Valkyries, I imagine this is going to be their championship banner night. They're going to raise the banner on winning the whole championship from last year. And that's going to be for good reason. Now, this would probably be the best opportunity to catch Orlando off guard. If there's ever a match where the Rise can pull off something very cool and very funny, for that matter, I imagine the Rise will be – this would probably be the match. But until I see that happening, I got to go with the Valkyries. Come on. They're not going to lose on their championship banner night. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I imagine the Orlando Valkyries should win. I'm actually going to say it's going to go 4 or 5. I think Orlando makes it an exciting matchup. Like, I wish I knew more about the about all these teams. I mean, I really want to know more. I saw the draft. I saw some good picks, but at the same time, it's like I haven't been keeping up with all of the transactions from free agency. And it just gets a little tough keeping up with everything. So for the Orlando Valkyries, I imagine they're still going to be as good as advertised. And them being the home team, I imagine they're going to be giving Grand Rapids a little bit of fits. But we'll see. Then we jump to Friday. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Friday. Then we jump to Saturday. We've got a doubleheader Saturday. So the first matchup is going to be on YouTube. We got the Omaha Supernovas taking on the Columbus Fury. Look, even though it's going to be at Nationwide Arena in Ohio, I imagine the Supernovas should win. I mean, I want to see what Columbus can do. I think Columbus can maybe pull off an upset or two, but until I see it, I just think Omaha will definitely win because Omaha definitely got better from last year. Let's keep it a buck. The Supernovas should either be better than last year or about the same as last year. I can't imagine the Supernovas dropping one to the Fury, but maybe the Fury will surprise us. Maybe the Fury will pull off some of that crazy, amazing magic that they did 2 years ago in their home opener when they played the Supernovas. But that was 2 years ago. That was because everyone and their mothers didn't know what to expect from the PVF. But yeah, I still imagine Omaha wins against the Fury. And then on Saturday, we have the Indy Ignite playing the new kid on the block, the new team on the block, the Dallas Pulse at Comerica Center. All right, this one's going to be on the Roku channel, and this is going to be the first ever match for the Dallas Pulse, which I think is going to be really cool if you ask me. Now, that being said, again, this is kind of an interesting matchup. Dallas is in its first year of the PVF. Indy is in its second year of the PVF. I want to say Indy is going to win this one, but you never know with these newfound teams. I really think Dallas can make this one an interesting matchup. Indy was the finalist that made it to the PVF/MLV championship. I imagine they're still going to be as good as they were last year. I can't imagine them taking a step back after their inaugural season where they took a massive step forward. I imagine Dallas should be a little jittery to start, but they have a team in the DFW area. So I imagine Dallas is going to be they're going to come out fired up, and I imagine their fans will be there to support them. And I imagine some of those Dallas fans will be Cowboys fans, and Dallas Cowboys fans should support the Dallas Pulse just because, well, the Cowboys aren't in the postseason this year, so why not support the Dallas Pulse? I'm sorry. I had to. But yeah, the Dallas Pulse and Indy Ignite close off Saturday's matches. And then on Sunday, we have the Grand Rapids Rise taking on the Atlanta Vibe. So that's the first of the doubleheader. All right, so again, the Grand Rapids Rise have a good chance of pulling off the most funniest thing out there, but Atlanta looks so stacked. That being said, I mean, in case Atlanta does have this could be a letdown spot for Atlanta, just because they play the Fury the first go around, and then the Rise will get battle tested against the Valkyries. They're going to be battle tested having played on the road. That being said, this one's kind of those 50-50 matches, but I imagine Atlanta would win. But we'll see what happens with that matchup. I think Atlanta on paper looks good. I just think the Rise definitely have a chance at pulling off a win. So that's still to be determined. And that one's going to be on CBS Sports Network. So that's kind of technically the first match of that's not going to be played. That's going to be played on an actual television channel, not just on a Roku channel, not on YouTube, not on, you know what I mean. And then also on Sunday, to close off the first week of the MLV, formerly known as the PVF, the Orlando Valkyries play at the San Diego Mojo. I would really try to go to this matchup, but there's one problem. I have plans on Sunday. No, I don't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's not because I'm going to church, but I have other plans on Sunday, so I can't really go to head down to San Diego. Plus, that's a long drive. Or not long drive, but a long trip down there. Anyway, so San Diego Mojo, Orlando Valkyries. Like I said, I imagine the Mojo are going to be better than they were last year. Like, they can't be as worse as they were last year. They just can't. And I imagine the Valkyries will still be up there in talent. But I imagine the Valkyries will still probably overwhelm the Mojo. One player to watch on that Mojo would maybe be Shannon Scully, who played on the Valkyries last year, was part of their championship team. But honestly, here's where I think the Valkyries could lose against the Mojo. They have to make a country-wide trip all the way from Florida to San Diego. That is a long trip, if you ask me. And being away from your home fans could kind of be a bit of a letdown spot. So that is probably where we could see a letdown spot for the Orlando Valkyries. But until I see the Valkyries wavering against a team like the Mojo, I got to go with the Valkyries against the Mojo. So that's who I have winning that matchup. So we shall see when it comes to that matchup. But that is week 1 in a nutshell. Week 2 begins next Wednesday when the Columbus Fury takes on the Grand Rapids Rise. We'll preview that a little bit down the road. So that is that for the 2026 MLV start to the season. So now let's jump on into our next pro volleyball subject, the LOVB, or League One Volleyball, or LOV. All right, so League One Volleyball starts on Wednesday. So this is actually a good concept. So I think the MLV should take a page from LOVB's book. So last year's finalists, LOVB Nebraska, formerly known as Omaha. So that's something you all need to remember. LOVB Omaha is no more. It's now LOVB Nebraska, which kind of makes sense just because state and whatnot, no longer city. Anyway, so LOVB Nebraska plays at LOVB Austin, which I think is a pretty good concept. Why not have a rematch between last year's finalists? And that's the perfect matchup to start the 2026 season. So that's going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be at HEB Center at Cedar Park. So that's a 3 p.m. Pacific start time. That's going to be on USA. I imagine that's USA Today or USA Channel. It's on USA. That's what it says. And then on Thursday, there's a doubleheader. LOVB Salt Lake. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no doubleheader. It's on Thursday. There's only one match. There's LOVB Salt Lake playing at LOVB Houston at the Barry Center in Houston. That'll be streamed on Victory. So I don't know what Victory. It's Victory Plus. So I imagine that's like a streaming site. So cool. Anyway, so yeah, LOVB Salt Lake will be playing at LOVB Houston, streamed on Victory Plus. That's nice. And then Saturday, LOVB Salt Lake has another matchup, as this time they got to go down to Madison, Wisconsin to take on LOVB Madison at the Alliant Energy Center, which, man, two matches in 3 days. That's tough for LOVB Salt Lake. So that matchup is also going to be streamed on Victory Plus. And I will also just say that Annie Schumacher, or formerly known as Annie Drews, she unfortunately I imagine she's not going to be playing this season just because She is pregnant, which I got to give her congratulations, which I think is awesome sauce. So congratulations to Annie Drew Schumacher for expecting her first child with her husband. Anyway, but yeah, LOVB Salt Lake, LOVB Madison is on Saturday. And then Sunday, we've got a doubleheader. LOVB Houston heads down to Baxter Arena in Omaha to take on LOVB Nebraska. That should be a kind of a good matchup right there. That I think, and that's going to be on ESPN Plus. Good for you. That is the best matchup you could ever ask for. And that's going to be on Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Again, Baxter Arena. And then also the second of the doubleheader will be LOVB Atlanta taking on LOVB Austin. So LOVB Atlanta gets to make its season debut. So Nebraska and Austin get to play 2 matches as well as Salt Lake. And this matchup will actually be televised nationally. So in addition to being streamed on ESPN Plus, it's going to be streamed on ESPN2, which I think is going to be really cool. And we're going to be seeing a lot of these LOVB matches on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPN Plus. At least some of them. Unfortunately, week 2 isn't going to have any matches on ESPN2. But this is still a pretty good matchup. LOVB Atlanta, LOVB Austin. The fact that it's going to be televised nationally is a really good concept. I think the first matchup of the season should have been on ESPN2. But unfortunately, probably college basketball is king. And so on and so forth. But hey, any nationally streamed matchup is better than no nationally streamed or nationally televised matchups. So LOVB Atlanta and LOVB Austin concludes week 1. Week 2 will actually start next Wednesday on the 14th when the match of the week is LOVB Austin, LOVB Atlanta. So they get round 2. So LOVB Atlanta and LOVB Austin get to face one another for the second time in 4 days. So pretty cool if you ask me. So that is that right there for LOVB week 1. Again, we don't really have a preseason poll, which kind of sucks. I mean, we didn't get a preseason poll last year, but I imagine LOVB will have everything ironed out, especially once they get more teams involved. Like, they've already got a team from San Francisco aligned, and a team from Los Angeles aligned, and a team from Minnesota aligned. So a lot of things happening in LOVB, which I think is going to be really cool for the future of pro volleyball. I just wish we would get more pro men's volleyball, but I digress. Anyway, that is that for LOVB, and it's week 1 preview. So now for the men's sides. That's perfect segue mentioning pro men's volleyball. So we have the VLA happening. So I was told that the season officially begins on this Saturday, though there was an event, the West Division Cup for the women's side of things. But this week is the West Division Cup for the men's side. So Surprise, Arizona is going to be is basically the location for week 1 of the VLA season. So the VLA is the Volleyball League of America. So it's the only pro men's volleyball league in America. There used to be the NVA, but that's no longer in business. So the VLA is the only pro men's volleyball league that is happening in North America. That's very sad to see, but good on the VLA. Here's the big problem. The VLA, they don't really have like endorsements and whatnot. I mean, they still have it going, but they don't really produce a lot of money or something of that sort. It was something that Rob St. Clair, one of the founding fathers of VLA, kind of mentioned. I remember he said on like Volleyball Coverage Channel that there's the lack of pro men's volleyball leagues in North America is disappointing with money. Like, the VLA doesn't get a whole lot of money. But here's the thing about VLA. They actually did get some news that USA Volleyball will be endorsing the VLA, which I think is really cool if you ask me. So some of their teams from the West are Sun City Team 9, SoCal Rising Tide, Phoenix Ascension, and then the North teams are the Chicago Icemen, the Chicago Swede, and the Milwaukee Dive. From the Central Division, you've got the Kentucky Unicorns, the Indiana Team Pineapple, And then you got the Dallas Dogs. And then for the East, you've got the Boston Bounce, the New York Legion VC, and then you got the Northeast Force. So that's your 12 teams from America's League for America's teams. So that's all your teams right here. And then for the women's teams, there are a lot of teams. There's like way too many. You've got the 630 Breeze from Darien, Illinois. You've got the Austin Jam, the Arlington Legacy, the Adirondack Avalanche from Albany, New York. You got the Bay Area Dimes. You got the Bay Area Dimes, the Bluegrass Blaze, the Chicago Southside XP. You got the Chicago Sweeties, the Chicago Vibes, the Cincinnati Attack, the Cleveland Kong, the Colorado Kings Women, the Columbus Crimson, the DC Dynasty, the Huntsville Nova, the Huron River Hitmen. I'm not even going to go down the list. Like, I'm sorry, but I really don't want to go down all the list. There's even a pro team in Orange County called the OC Resilient from Garden Grove, which I am down to see that. I think that is awesome to see when it comes to the VLA. So, yeah, the Volleyball League of America. That is a league you need to watch out for if you're a men's volleyball fan. So, here's the thing about their little schedule. So their schedule is obviously this week. They officially start the season, and it gets a little tricky. So they have 3 pools. So Pool A is Phoenix Ascension, and they got the NorCal Tall Ones. Oh, God, these names are so hilarious. The NorCal Tall Ones, the San Diego Beach, and then the OKC F5. Then for Pool B, you've got SoCal Rising Tide, the Seattle Riptide, the Phoenix Valor, and then the Utah Yetis. And then Pool C, which is not capitalized on the VLA website. Pool C, you've got Sun City 9, the Colorado Kingsmen, the Mesa Los Muertos, and then the Salt Lake Apex. So that's all 12 teams partaking in this event. And apparently this is for men's volleyball. So this is the West Division Cup for the men's side. So I don't know why the women's side didn't count, but I don't know. I think this is definitely going to be streamed on the VLA's YouTube page. I can't imagine that's not going to be streamed on their YouTube page, because I have seen their YouTube page. They do stream their matches. I'm going to do my darndest to try to cover all this. Like it's going to be really tough for me to try to keep track of everything happening, just because I've got NCAA men's volleyball to juggle. But this is my one goal for this year, to make note of the VLA, just because the VLA deserves a little bit of love as well. And I think we all need to get behind the VLA, just because it is volleyball too. And as Carl France, Fairleigh Dickinson's men's volleyball coach, would say, men and boys play volleyball too. So looking at the entire VLA 2026 schedule, so they had an event in Phoenix, Arizona last week for the West Division Cup on the women's side in Tier 2. They have a Tier 1 and Tier 2 Cup, West Division Cup for the men's side. And then the following week, they've got a Tier 1 tournament for the North Division Single Match 1, which I don't think is an event. I mean, you'll know a lot about this if you go on the VLA's Instagram page. And yes, I can guarantee you that the Instagram is going to be way more informative than their X account, which unfortunately the VLA's X account does not really update a whole lot, which, man, that sucks. Like, why do people forget that X, or formerly known as Twitter, exists? So anyway, I do want to go see the entire tournament schedule. So here's the tournament schedule. So January 10th and 11th, it's going to be in Ottawa, Arizona, or Ottawa University of Arizona. That's their first event. And then on March 7th and 8th, their next little event is going to be at the Great Lakes Volleyball Center in Illinois. And then March 14th and 15th, that's their third event. That's going to be at Union FBC Coder Center in Indiana, which is Rob St. Clair's stomping grounds. And then they're going to have an event in April in New York with a location to be determined. Is this it? I think it is, oh, no, it's not. And yeah, it is. Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, where's the finals going to be at? So, yeah, I guess their season is. So I'm seeing some of the comments. What are these fonts? Oh, that's pretty funny. So I don't even know where the finals are going to be, but that's still to be determined. Maybe that's where the finals are going to be in regards to that whole thing. So it's going to be interesting, but it's an interesting league, but it's still volleyball. Like, we really got to get behind these players, like all these teams. But yeah, that is pretty much that when it comes to the VLA and its season. I mean, you might find out more when it comes to the website. The VLA Cup is on the. I guess the VLA Cup is kind of their finals of the whole VLA championships or the VLA season. That's going to be on May 9th. So it's going to be held in Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh, man, I wanted it to be in California. So there's now going to be one event held in California. So there's just going to be Las Vegas, Nevada for the VLA Cup. Then the East Division Cup will be in Half Moon, New York. And there's one in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, then Jefferson, Indiana, then Aurora, Illinois, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah, nothing for California. Well, that sucks. Well, then, well, I guess I could forget about possibly going unless my boy Rob St. Clair or any of the other VLA wants to, like, fly me out there. But it is what it is. I mean, sometimes I guess it's just not meant to be. But who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe they'll have an event in California. But I'm not going to hold my breath. Anyway, so that's that for the VLA. So personally, it's a tough league to follow. But if your best friend when it comes to the VLA is their YouTube account, go to that and then basically go watch the matches, whether it's live or on demand, and just support the VLA. And definitely give the VLA a follow on Instagram. That will definitely help you out in terms of all of your questions that need to be asked and answered. And I'm going to be doing my best to try to put results when it comes to some of the matches as well. So I don't want to forget the matches. I'll probably do it on Sunday and watch day 2 of the VLA. So we'll see. All right, but that is that right there for the VLA, or the Volleyball League of America. Let's support this league, because if USA Volleyball is going to endorse this league, why not have everyone else endorse it? So now let's move on to the final topic of the show, and then I will send you all on your way. So the MPSF actually dropped some big news. So they actually dropped that their first ever beach volleyball media day is going to be on Monday, February 2nd from approximately 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So I actually have the press release on that I just brought up. Hopefully, yeah, here it is. So here is the official press release. And this was from Darren Preston, and who actually personally emailed me this, which I thought was pretty awesome sauce. So I actually do got to reserve my spot for this whole thing. But yeah, for the MPSF men's or beach volleyball media day, it basically said that the MPSF will host its first ever beach volleyball media day on Monday, February 2nd, 2026 at the Costa Mesa Marriott in Costa Mesa, California. So basically the same place where they had the men's volleyball media day. So the MPSF's 10 head coaches, along with at least one student athlete from each program, will be available for interviews and questions, while the event will also be live streamed on Big Ten Plus, kind of like the men's volleyball media day. And then specific media details such as the schedule format and athlete availability will be finalized and announced approximately 1 week ahead of the event. So this is just breaking news right away, but this is some big news, and I think this is really good to grow the game of NCAA beach volleyball. And then this will be the second season for the MPSF in beach volleyball, as this will feature 10 teams: Cal, GCU, Oregon, Stanford, UCLA, USC, and Washington, while we get 3 newcomers: LSU, San Jose State, and Texas. And the MPSF Championship Tournament will once again be held at Spiker Beach in Huntington Beach, California from April 22nd to the 24th. And then the champion will actually receive an automatic qualifier to the NCAA tournament in Gulf Shores, Alabama, which I'm still mad they canceled out on Huntington Beach, which makes me sad. But it is what it is. Anyway, so there you have it right there. Nothing has been officially finalized when it comes to the teams, but there's going to be at least one. There's going to be the coach at least, as well as one player. And I imagine it's still going to be the same. You'll get a chance to, media members will get a chance to interview players and or coaches personally in the back media room, while the press conference will probably be hosted by Rob Aspero, as well as co-hosted by Sarah Pavin, who was a former AVP and AVCA All-American, which I think is pretty awesome. But you already know your boy is going to be at this event. I already am going to be making my plans to go to this event, and I'm going to definitely be getting that content for you all. And I'm going to do my best to try to cover some NCAA beach volleyball, just because, for starters, I think NCAA beach volleyball is still volleyball, even though it's not like indoor. It's so different from indoor volleyball. It's actually all the 10 players play on 5 different courts, and you have to win 3 matches from the duel in order to win the whole duel. So there you go. All right, but yeah, that is pretty much that for the MPSF Beach Volleyball Media Day. I think that is some big news right there, and I think it's massive for the MPSF. And like I said, it is big for the sport of NCAA beach volleyball. As my boy Marcus Los Great pops in the chat room, he says salute. Salute to you too, my boy. I appreciate you for popping into the chat room. So yeah, you already know I'm going to be at this event, and I'm going to be excited to meet Jenny Johnson-Jordan of UCLA. She's definitely a great coach. Wait a minute. Hold on. Did I say Stanford was? Oh yeah, Stanford. If I missed Stanford, I apologize. So Cal, Grand Canyon, Oregon, Stanford, UCLA, USC, and Washington. So those are last year's returning members from the MPSF. And then this year's newcomers will be Texas, LSU, and San Jose State. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. I have interviewed Dane Blanton before, USC's beach volleyball coach. He's a real great guy, and I think he's a fantastic coach. And I know last year didn't really go USC's way, but I think his team is in for a big year. UCLA should obviously be in for a big year as well. Stanford, I think, should be up there in terms of talent. Texas, I think, is going to take another big step forward just because Steinmetzger is a fantastic coach. LSU should still be pretty good this year. So the list goes on and on in terms of like talent from the MPSF. So keep an eye on when it comes to this media event. Do not let this bypass you all. And if you have Big Ten Plus and you can't make it down to Costa Mesa, good on you. All right, but that is that right there for the MPSF beach volleyball news that happened. I know it's not big news, but soon we will get some NCAA beach volleyball happening, and soon we're going to have a lot of volleyball to go over. We've got NCAA men's volleyball happening. We got the LOVB happening. We've got the MLV happening. We've got the VLA happening. And I don't even know if I'll have enough room to put I don't even know if I'll have enough room to have high school boys volleyball in the 3C2A in terms of men's volleyball on a weekly basis. That's going to be so tough, but I'll have to do my best because I really don't want these shows to go too long. So there you have it. That is going to do it for this week's episode of Set Point. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you for all of your support and for basically seeing my content. I promise you all, I'm going to try to get it more polished than ever. I definitely think I have room to grow when it comes to my content. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be popping. And you already know your boy is going to continue to improve on pumping out that content. And I promise you, I will post my content on TikTok as well. So don't worry, I got y'all. But for everyone here at IE Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Have yourself an amazing week. Enjoy all the volleyball action. I will see you all on Friday and on Saturday at Long Beach State for their matches against Lindenwood and McKendree. Have a great week, everybody. Peace and blessings for you all. Take care, everybody. Bye.